You're looking at the full video of George Zimmerman arriving at the police station. We now see more than one angle. We have two different angles of George Zimmerman being escorted out of that police car. Later in the tape, Zimmerman's led inside the station. He's in, and then into a room at the end of a long hallway where he was presumably interrogated by police investigators. We have two former police officers with us now. Eugene O'Donnell, returning to the show, former NYPD police officer and prosecutor. Also joining us by phone, Grant Fredericks, who is a forensic crime scene analyst, expert in analyzing video. Grant Fredericks, this is our first chance to ask you about this video. What do you think are the relevant points to gather from what you've seen on this video?
Well, I think from the video itself, it's pretty clear that Mr. Zimmerman is able to exit the police vehicle without any assistance. He stands at ease and freely. One point of, I think, important note is that one of the police officers appears to examine the back of his head, which indicates there's something there, and he did state that he was injured in the back of his head. Although the video doesn't show any injury, it doesn't mean that there wasn't any. The video is highly compressed. It's kind of an odd way to release images to the public, the way that the police department did it. The video has been produced in an odd way that makes the objects look a little bit different. In other words, the video has been squished in this case, and so Mr. Zimmerman appears to be skinny, thinner than he actually is. If the video is analyzed and examined properly, it's actually
I think we have a version of it that you've restored to the way it would actually give us the realistic image. I think we're going to see that now.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the image, what you're seeing is that on one side you see an image of Mr. Zimmerman who appears to be quite thin. The other image shows that he is actually thicker in stature and weight, and so
Can we bring that up full screen? Don't put it in those little boxes on the screen. Push that up full screen. Looks like we can't do it. All right. I hope everyone at home has big TVs so you can see these images.
Yeah, I don't think that this was done for any nefarious purpose. I think that it's just simply somebody who produced it didn't really know how to do it
Grant
properly.
Frederick, should I ask you, do you think there's any manipulation of this video, and I don't mean illegitimate manipulation, but proper manipulation of this video that can answer the question about whether there is any kind of injury on the back of the head of George Zimmerman?
Well, look, let me be clear. What was given to the public and to the media through YouTube, the way that they released it, is not the best evidence. So it's not something that they would actually have. What the police have is something with much more detail. But even given that, they would obviously have taken their own photographs. They wouldn't be relying on surveillance videos set up to protect property in their facility. Let me
quickly ask you, and I'm going to go to Eugene O'Donnell after you on this too, about just in terms of procedure, what you're seeing. We see that moment where one of the officers rubs the garment of George Zimmerman, and then he wipes something off of his hand. Just police procedure that you're watching there. What's your satisfaction level with the police procedure you're seeing?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yes, Grant, go ahead.
Yeah, well, normally at a crime scene, if we arrest somebody at a homicide scene, we're going to be bagging their hands, we're going to be bagging their feet or seizing their shoes, not allowing them to walk around. And I do note, as he walks away from the carport area and into the building, he actually rubs his feet and wipes his feet off on the mat at the police department. Now, those shoes contain evidence. They may contain evidence of blood spatter that might be on his shoes if there's an allegation that he was kicking. If he was injured, there would be his blood perhaps, or maybe even Mr. Martin's blood if he was bleeding. So the fact that they've allowed him to wipe off evidence, is questionable. But I think your other guest might speak more to police procedure.
Eugene, what you've seen this video a lot. We got some additional images of it tonight. We now learning that those officers they should have bagged his feet. You've been talking about they should have got complete control of this clothing.
Sure. I mean, and the idea is that they made a summary judgment to not proceed in this case, and now you're seeing that judgment.
Do you get the feeling when you watch that behavior in the station with them getting out of the car? These are officers who already understand nothing's going to happen here. we don't even have to be careful of how this guy walks. I mean, we can walk in front of him. We don't worry if he might kick us. I mean, there's just no sense that something urgent or tense is going on here.
I think there is a view of that video that suggests he doesn't appear to be. He feels like he's not. It doesn't seem like a strange place to him. Mm-hmm. It seems like it doesn't look like a typical homicide suspect being taken into custody.
Yeah, he certainly looks like. And look, it's hard to judge a guy in that kind of state of trauma, possibly, but it could also be that he's been given a sense that there's nothing terribly much at risk here. We're going to have to take another break right here. We're going to be back with much more of the new material that's been developed today in the killing of Trayvon Martin. We have breaking news developments tonight in the case of the killing of Trayvon Martin. A new witness has emerged. You will hear more about that. And another member of the Zimmerman family, this time George Zimmerman's brother, spoke tonight, giving new elements of what has now become the family story of what happened that night before George Zimmerman decided to pull the trigger to shoot and kill Trayvon Martin. The mayor of Sanford, Florida, the current mayor of Sanford, Florida, was elected over a year ago when the last police chief, before Bill Lee, when they had other police problems there, that last police chief was removed from office. This new mayor, who's been there a relatively short time, has been through more police trouble than you could imagine most mayors having to deal with. Mayor Triplett is going to join me next. We're also going to be joined by Charles Blow, Jonathan Capehart, Eugene O'Donnell will be with us, Farai Chideya. We're all going to be here to react to and analyze all of this new evidence that's emerging tonight. The mayor of Sanford, Florida, Jeff Triplett, cast one of the votes of no confidence against Sanford Police Chief Bill Lee, removing him from office. Mayor Jeff Triplett joins us now. Mayor Triplett, with the emergence of the police video showing George Zimmerman just a little more than a half an hour after he fired the fatal shots in this case, the shots that changed life in your town. What is your reaction to the release of this video and what you're seeing in the video?
You know, it's interesting to me. It causes more questions than it actually does answers, as far as I'm concerned. You know, and this is the exact reason why we've gone out to the to the Department of Justice and the FDLE to review our practices and policies and to take a look at how we've handled this investigation since day one. I'm not an attorney or a law enforcement officer. I'm the mayor, so I'd hate to form an opinion as to exactly my thoughts and opinions about that.
George Zimmerman's father said something in an interview last night, a local interview down there, which I'm sure you've seen, which actually moved his comment into the political arena, which is your arena. I want to play this for you. I want you to listen to this.
I don't feel good, but I guess he would have preferred my son being beaten to death. I never foresaw so much hate coming from the president, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, every organization imaginable is trying to get notoriety or profit from this in some way. But there's so much hate that I've never been involved in hate, and George hasn't, and it's really unbelievable.
What is your reaction to him saying, "I never saw so much hate coming from the president"?
Did he say the president? I'm sorry.
I'm going to read it to you because just so make sure you hear this, okay? I never foresaw so much hate coming from the president. He then went on to say, never foresaw so much hate coming from the president, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, every organization imaginable is trying to gain notoriety or profit from this. I've never foresaw so much hate coming from the president. Did you think that it would come to this?
No, I never thought that it would come to this. And in fact, you know that's obviously everyone has a right to their own opinion. But I got to be honest with you. You know, going through this since I've gotten involved, I've had some great conversations with a lot of those leaders that he's talking about.
Jeff, Mayor Triplett, I just want to stop you. You actually made a trip up to Washington to speak to the Justice Department. You sought the interaction and help of the federal government in this. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. Some things simply are not true and live beyond the realm of opinion. For a person to say, no matter how they are related to this case, I never foresaw so much hate coming from the president. Is that an opinion you think someone's entitled to in this case?
No matter whether you like him or not, he's still our president and deserves the ultimate level of respect as far as I'm concerned.
Mayor Triplett, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know how hard it is for you to get to our position to deal with these things for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Coming up, George Zimmerman's father says he spoke to a television reporter against the advice of the police. The police are giving him advice on how to handle himself. That's going to be next.